So this is the last of our spring 2021 series of MC huddles. These are opportunities for you to hear firsthand updates about the college. And I'm so glad for those of you who are joining this evening from your own homes and your businesses in real time. And I also want to welcome all of you that are watching the recording of this huddle at a later time. Just a note to everyone involved that this session is being recorded and will be available for later viewing. And if you'd like to watch recordings from previous huddles, we have some really great content about other areas at McPherson College. Those are available by visiting the alumni page of the MC website. And so we encourage you to take some time and watch some of those as well. So this evening, I'm joined by President Michael Schneider, and he'll be coming on in just a few minutes to offer an update about the college. We'll also be joined by Nick Baldetti, who began as the Executive Director of Healthcare Initiatives at McPherson College in the fall of 2020. So just imagine coming into that role in the midst of all of the changes in COVID. And we've been so glad to welcome Nick, and we'll be excited to hear more from him in just a little while. We also have our professor, our associate professor of chemistry, Manjula Coralegadera, and she's also faculty advisor to McPherson College's pre-professional or pre-health professionals club. And so we're excited for her to share a little more about the classroom experience, but certainly a lot more about the ways that our students are given opportunities to be creative in healthcare fields for their careers. And then I'm really excited that we have a special guest, a current student here at McPherson College, Erica Paradise. And so she'll also be sharing about her experience, especially her involvement with the Pre-Health Professionals Club and her career goals that she's looking to follow once she's finished here at MC. We'll be hearing from all of these guests about the health science program and the opportunity for MC students on campus and beyond in the health science field. But we will begin with a brief campus update from Michael before getting into that program. At any time during this session, you are welcome to submit questions through the question and answer feature. So you'll see that if you are on a computer at the bottom of your screen, or if you're on a tablet at the top. And for anyone watching in real time, it will be very helpful for us at the college if you use your real first and last name for your login. So you can just take a moment and change name if yours says like Tablet 1. This will be really important if you submit questions so that we know who's asking and how we can help you know more. We'll get to as many questions as we can in the 15 to 20 minutes after sharing. And we've found in these experiences that you guys ask wonderful questions, and we're able to usually help answer all of those in the time. So please start sending those in anytime. And also one final note, if you're on this webinar in real time, at the end of the conversation with your real name on the screen, you'll be entered into a drawing to win an MC prize package that we will ship or drop off in the next week. So be online in person until the end to be included in that drawing. And I see that Michael has joined us on screen, and so we're all looking forward to hearing from you. Thanks so much for being a part of this evening, Michael.
Thanks, Monica. It's great to have everybody online. We've had a lot of fun doing these huddles during the year. These are actually kind of modeled after what we do once a month with all of our employees. And of course, this year it's been convenient and necessary because of the pandemic to be on Zoom. And so we huddle up, we share things from across campus, and tonight we're talking healthcare. So we'll get to that here in a moment. Quick update. Everybody wants to know how admissions is looking, how enrollment's looking. We are faster to 300 new students than we've ever been in the history of McPherson College. So deposits are up in every major category for us. We're having a fantastic year. In addition, I've mentioned over the last few alumni huddles that we've struggled a little bit with retention. Well, struggle a little bit, I should be more honest. We've struggled a lot this year. And we've been working really hard spending time with students, spending time with staff who are on the front lines to try and figure out what the best strategy is moving forward. And I'm excited to share that the theme that we're going to be using to attempt to support our retention initiatives really is around mentorship, building stronger relationships, individual student relationships with students. We found out this year with the Student Debt Project that our fall to spring retention was nearly 15% higher for those students than the rest of our student body. So that program, one of the hallmarks of that program is you're in a cohort with a mentor. We're also creating mentoring relationships with the alumni from a career perspective, which you'll hear about soon, and you'll have an opportunity as alums to participate in. We're also working in academic affairs and student life to create more peer-to-peer mentorships between current students, upperclassmen, and new students. And then we've got a new program I'm really excited that's is a partnership between Student Affairs, our first year seminar, and our athletic department to create minority mentors, alumni mentors for our students of color who come in brand new. So I'm excited about that work. Also excited to announce that over 60% of the class of 2021 who will be walking across the stage at Paul Family Stadium on the campus of McPherson College are placed in jobs or graduate school. That is 3 times the national average. It could be by the time we get to Saturday, we're pushing 70%. The cool part about that is most universities, they will report numbers, placement numbers at 6 months or pre-graduation that are relatively high, but their knowledge rate, which is how many students do they actually know what they're doing, is relatively low. So you can imagine how many of these students who are graduating McPherson College do we know what they're doing? Every single one of them. We know where they're at. And I think that's special. So 60% of them placed before graduation, 3 times the national average. Let me also share that as I wrap up this update, that it's been a much more normal spring. We've had very few active cases on campus of COVID-19 during this pandemic this spring. It's been mostly the disruption's been on the faculty staff side, on the employee side. Students have done a great job following our health and safety protocol. We had lots of great senior projects. Our athletic department is competing for the Commissioner's Cup as one of the winningest programs in the conference. And just all the activities are different. It's, I mean, heck, it's 62 degrees, sunny out here this evening, no wind on campus. Students are walking around enjoying. This is the very last day of finals, graduation weekend. We're going to have, like I said, graduation outside at the stadium, crossing our fingers, some good weather. So it's been a little bit more normal spring, or I should say, comparing spring to the fall, it's been much different. I think the faculty and staff here have just done a fantastic job, and I can't say enough about our students, how they've been very patient with us as we've been trying to navigate this, and they've been very graceful with their student colleagues and folks in their classes. So all in all, it's been a great spring, and we're excited that we're planning for a fall semester that is much more normal. Again, I hesitate to lob out, what it's going to look like exactly, because, things can change, but we've got most of our faculty and staff have been vaccinated. We've also got lots and lots of our students who've gotten vaccinated. And we're encouraging everybody who feels safe getting the vaccine to go ahead and do it. And we've shown this spring that we know how to keep the campus safe and keep the cases way down. We haven't had an active case associated with campus in 3 weeks. So all good there. So again, I'd encourage you to put your questions in the chat function, and anything you want to talk about, we can pick those up a little later. Let me transition, Monica, before I hand it back off to you, and talk about the healthcare initiative. So we launched about 18 months ago the McPherson Healthcare Initiative, which is a unique partnership with McPherson Hospital, as well as other area healthcare providers, to build a program in health sciences modeled after the success we've seen in auto restoration. So there's three important components to this program. One is that it is broad-based. We know that healthcare is, in a lot of cases, students go into healthcare and they want to be a doctor, they want to be a nurse, they want to be a PA. My mom was a radiologist. My dad was a respiratory therapist. My aunt worked in administration. They have an ID, but it's very, very broad. And so our program encapsulates all of those broad areas, including clinical approaches to health sciences, behavioral health, public health, and healthcare management, with the idea, which is the second piece, we know students come in and they may think, I want to be a PA, or I want to be a respiratory therapist, or I want to be a pharmacist, but then they come in and they change their mind. This program really does give us the opportunity to allow students to discern through the curriculum. I'm going to let Nick Baldetti talk about that here in a little bit, who runs the health science program, but allows our students a chance to discern, see every aspect of healthcare, and craft a degree that fits them and fits them not just for their first job, but for their last job. And then the final piece of this, the third piece that I'll lift up, is that it really is experiential based. Students can come in as a health science scholar and actually we'll pay for credentials if they want to be a pharm tech or a CNA or any other technical degree that they might be able to get through Hutchinson Community College. They're on multiple internships, clinicals, and they're out in the community doing signature outreach through some of our partners, just fully engaged in healthcare in general, volunteering in different settings and with different organizations. For example, disability supports is a big one in McPherson. And so our students are fully engaged, not just in the technical aspects, but also seeing the full spectrum of healthcare at work, doing some of these signature outreach projects associated with different partners in the community. So I'm really excited that we're able to kick this off and build this program out because of the generosity of a seven-figure initial gift that's allowing our faculty and staff to come together to build this program. And in the first year, we already have nearly 40 students in this new program, 7 health science scholars who came in. And next year, I think Nick is going to blow out his goal of 10 scholars and probably bring in a few more. We anticipate in the next 5 to 10 years, there'll be no question this will probably be the largest academic program on our campus. And we see a lot of momentum around fundraising in this area. So you saw Carolyn Beach scholarship for women who want to be in healthcare. Carolyn passed away before we were able to announce this gift, but Carolyn went to McPherson College, graduated, and had a long career with Kaiser Permanente in California as a healthcare worker. And she read about this program. She'd been a big supporter of McPherson College, called the development office, and gave us her estate, $1.7 million, to endow scholarships, these healthcare scholars every year with special consideration for women wanting to have careers in healthcare and health science. So there's a lot of energy around this program. I'm going to stop, Monica, and turn it over to you to introduce our guests and tee them up to share all the good things that are going on in this program.
Wonderful. Yeah, thank you for the larger campus update and then giving some framework to the healthcare initiative and why that's so important to McPherson College. And so now I'm going to invite Nick Baldetti. I've already shared a brief introduction that he became Executive Director of Healthcare Initiatives here at McPherson College last fall in 2020. And so he's wrapping up his first full academic year in that position. And we're really glad to hear from Nick more about this program and the connections that he's making on campus and off campus. And so just like Michael reminded you all, you're welcome to submit questions about Michael's update or about what Nick is going to be sharing. And just so Manjula and Erica know, we'll be inviting them on in just a little while to also share. So sit back and listen to Nick, and thank you so much, Nick, for what you're going to share with all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a thumbs up, Monica. You can hear me okay? Great. Well, Michael, thanks for the introduction. And I just want to say it is an absolute pleasure, and I'm excited to be a part of this budding program for McPherson College. A little bit about me. Before I came to McPherson College, I was the executive director of a local health department and appointed health officer. And so the very impetus of this program, when I sat down with Michael, was the fact that this was rooted in a greater fundamental mission to try and be a value add partner in addressing rural access to healthcare. And so that certainly pulled on my public health heartstrings. And so very much that is a throw in terms of the motivation and mission of the Health Sciences and Healthcare Initiatives program here at McPherson College. And to some of the topics that Michael has already touched on, the conversations being had with our local and regional partners in our healthcare system associated with the needs that they have, specifically associated with rural access to healthcare, is just that they both need interested parties and individuals and graduates who are interested in healthcare. But we know from feedback from our community partners and regional partners that graduates who have a greater understanding, a broad understanding of what this machine and this industry is, that is healthcare, and then coming into the workforce with experience are two of the greatest potential valuable pieces for graduates that we can graduate from McPherson College. And so that's the very foundation for which the Health Sciences degree program is built upon, is just that broad experiential, broad understanding of the healthcare industry and the experiential learning aspect. And so, specifically around the broad education, is that we seek to hyphenate that learning curve for our graduates in terms of their understanding of what this industry is of healthcare. And so when they get into the industry, they can focus more on the specific service-oriented positions that they seek out as graduates in a health sciences degree or a healthcare management degree, with a background knowledge of what this greater industry is and how their work integrates into the business of healthcare. And then based on that experiential learning that's interwoven into the actual career, the degree itself, we're getting students experience in the field throughout the duration of their undergraduate degree. So in contrast to more traditional programs where you go through 4 years and you have, say, an internship in your final spring, let's say, of your senior year, we actually build in experience starting in the student's sophomore year. And so it's a stepwise progression in that we're looking to assist in the career discernment of our students, where we have career exploration in their sophomore year. And then in their junior year, they have what's a junior seminar. And then in their senior year, they have a senior capstone. And it's a progressively building hourly load in the field, and we tailor that specifically to what the interest of the student is. So if the student has a specific interest in clinical service or providership, we seek to partner them in the field with partners in the field. If they have healthcare administration aspirations with specific focuses in management, we seek to specialize that. And that is a testament to the partnerships that we have in our community as well with our partners, which is, it continues to expand, but some of our notable partners that have already either began hosting students or hosting classes includes, as Michael said, our initial kind of founding partner in McPherson Hospital, but also Disability Supports of the Great Plains, the Cedars Aging Care Facility, and community here in McPherson, Blue Stem PACE, Hutchinson Regional Healthcare System in Hutchinson, Kansas. We just continue to find partners who are interested in finding energy around this health science program. And so really the excitement based around being able to place students and allow them to go through that discernment process throughout the exploration of their undergraduate degree really has catalyzed a lot of interest in this program, both locally, regionally, and throughout the state of Kansas. And I will also say through kind of existing channels that I have that I interface with in public health and healthcare, there's a lot of energy around the implications of having these health science students and healthcare management students who have this broad scale education and this interest and rooted in this kind of motive to address rural access to healthcare, that the system itself in the state of Kansas at a state level, beginning in Topeka, is beginning to take notice about what's being built in McPherson College. So that provides a lot of energy and kind of awareness around what's being built in McPherson College, and I think it's something to be really proud of. And I'm certainly proud to be leading that program for McPherson College. I think additionally, I can talk all day about the program and its experiential learning aspects that have been built into the program itself. But I also think there's an existing kind of capacity around work at the college itself around experience for the students, both on campus and then faculty that have sought to kind of expand the experience for our health professionals and our pre-health professionals. And I think that's something that Manjula will speak to here in a little bit too, about how through the natural science departments, which is an integral partner in the health sciences degree program and healthcare initiatives here at McPherson College. I think it's really about the student experience that we create and associate that with healthcare industry and health sciences general, that's going to create the next generation of future health professionals that administer care for all of us in the state of Kansas and hopefully within the heartland of America. So based on that experiential learning, I think is the greatest value add that we can add. And I think Manjula has some really cool things to share with regard to that about her work with the Pre-Health Professionals Club as well. So with that, I think, Monica, I will either stand for any questions that may have come in and or hand the baton off.
Perfect. Well, we have a really great question that came in, and I'm going to pose it to you, but it's something that we also may talk about a little bit about once everybody's on the screen answering questions. But it was asked, will students need to go to graduate school for their medical careers, or will they be qualified to enter the medical field upon graduation?
That's a fantastic question. So truly, it depends on the interest of the student. So specific careers may very well require a graduate degree or licensure that goes beyond the scope of the four-year degree in health sciences or healthcare management. But most certainly that does not mean that the only way to enter into the healthcare workforce is through the graduate school portal. And so truly the answer is it depends on what the interest is of the student. But I can say that they're a special, so there are a number of healthcare degrees that most certainly a health science four-year degree, bachelor's degree, and or healthcare administrative degree will certainly qualify for. But additionally, I think the benefit of the focus being on rural access to healthcare, we hear this a lot from our community stakeholders and regional partners who are interested in the program, is they're truly just looking for individuals who are educated in health sciences and the healthcare industry itself. And they are just asking for people to come to them truly. And they're just looking for people. And they quite frankly say, if they have an understanding and an education associated around the healthcare industry, we'll teach them the intricacies and the boots on the ground they need for specific positions, and the sky's the limit. So absolutely. I mean, if you're looking to become a doctor, obviously graduate school is a must. But there is a wide swath of entry-level positions that a four-year degree in health science will certainly will allow you to enter into.
Well, that is such a helpful answer. And I think, Nick, that you're highlighting one of the ways that McPherson College really benefits their students, that you've built relationships. And so you are best equipped to guide and suggest to these students what their next best steps are, because you know them well. And I know that Manjula spends so much time getting to know our students as well. And that's part of what she's going to be talking about, is learning what each student uniquely wants to do with their careers. So I'm going to invite Dr. Corlegadera onto the onto the program. And Nick, I think you can sit back and turn your camera off for a little bit if you want to take a rest. And we'll look forward to hearing more, Manjula, about the ways that you connect with students, particularly the Pre-Healthcare Professionals Club, but all of the ways that you're working with students. And then I'll ask you to just invite Erica on when you want to include Erica into the conversation to share her experience as a student. So we're looking forward to what you have to share.
Thank you, Monica. I really appreciate this opportunity that I get to share all the good work we do with our students. And so I will start with the Pre-Health Professions Club, and then kind of what are the experiences our students get through the Pre-Health Professions Club. And then actually I can add something to answer the previous question as well. So a tiny bit of the history of the PHP Club. So we started this club as a student horizon fund project. So I really want to say, like, this club is actually started as a student project. It is a very successful idea from a then sophomore, now a dentist, Dr. Ashley Long. So if Ashley, if you are listening to this, it's all because of you. Thank you. Okay? So the PHP Club does a lot of activities, and I'm not going to talk about all the activities, but I'll highlight some of the things that I think are the most important. The first activity is inviting guest speakers to the club. So when it comes to inviting guests, I divide these guests into 3 different categories. The first category of guests include graduate school representatives. For example, every year I bring in KU medical school dean into the club, or admissions counselors from chiropractor schools, pharmacy schools, and whatnot. So this gives an opportunity for our students to meet these representatives and then actually talk with them one-on-one. At this point, the students get a chance to get an insight about what they are actually looking for. Maybe in terms of writing their personal statement, what are the experiences they should be highlighting, or what kind of recommendation letters you are expecting, kind of information. So to answer that previous question, I would say the KU Medical School and the University of Missouri, Kansas City Dental School, they have they accept students during their sophomore year into the graduate schools. So by the time they are in their sophomore year, they need to have a certain GPA, and then they have to come from a rural area in Kansas. So what I do is I talk to the students who are in the Pre-Health Professions Club, and then I get to know what they want to do in the future. And if I recognize a student as, oh, this is a good candidate, when these representatives come to the school, I make the students talk to them. And then we have some students who are already in medical school who started, like, who knew that they are going to medical school since their sophomore year. And then again, like when I bring in these guests, like I can give you some examples of like how they are not only valuable resources for like in relation to only the graduate school they are representing, but for example, when the KU admissions dean comes to the pre-health professions club, I always ask them to talk about other programs they have associated with the KU Med. So they actually talk a little bit about programs like the Masters of Public Health or the Master of Health Services Administration kind of programs. So the students get to know these things that they did not know before. And then another example would be like a couple of years ago, I had a law school representative coming to the PHP club. So this person talked to our students about what are the career choices they have if they pursue a law degree after undergraduate degree. So they can work in areas like maybe science litigation, maybe patent related stuff. So I make the students understand these other career choices they have when we get these representatives from graduate schools. The second type of guests we have are currently involved in a health related profession. Okay? So like this could be an MD or a DO or a PA, or maybe that is a scientist from a pharmaceutical company, right? So again, like we try to tell the students, so it is not necessarily that you have to be a doctor or a dentist or a PA. These are the other fields you can go into. So after these things, we have several science majors, or like they went into health sciences, but pursuing degrees in medicinal chemistry and biochemistry kind of fields. And uh, in addition to that, when these professionals come to the club, they talk about their day-to-day experiences, what they love about their professions, or what are the hardships they had to overcome. These kind of things, when the students hear these from these professionals, actually inspire students to think about certain career choices that they were not planning before. The third type of invited guests are the representatives from various organizations in the community. Like Michael said, I had the director of the disability services come and talk to the pre-health professions club in the past. Or, I'm not going to name everybody, but there are many community representatives come and talk into the club. And then I can think about there was this one time, a couple of my students volunteered at a week-long bereavement camp for kids. And these kind of experiences, they never saw those things. And then I had a guest talking to the club about hospice care. Again, something we are not talking about as a very popular career choice, but once the students see these people, once the students get to volunteer with them and then experience what are the things they can learn from these people, and then they feel how these people feel, and then they get an idea about, oh my gosh, this is not only becoming a doctor, but there are way more things uh, than just going into the medical school. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with going to the medical school, so don't misunderstand me. Okay. And then the next point I want to highlight about the Pre-Health Professions Club is the help the Pre-Health Professions Club provides with the test prep material for our uh, uh, club members, and then also other students if they ask for them. So I have a collection of test prep materials like MCAT, PCAT, DAT, GRE books. So the students are welcome to borrow these books from me for extended periods of times. So there are many students who get the take advantage of this opportunity. So they borrow the books for throughout the whole summer, or maybe the Christmas break. And then once they finish taking the test, they actually return the books. And then I circulate these books compared to a library where you can borrow a book for 2 weeks. with the PHP club, they get to keep their books for a long time. In addition to that, if they need help with refreshing their subject knowledge in chemistry, physics, or biochemistry, I personally help the students. And then again, I share information about various graduate school open houses, information sessions, early admission programs, like what I said earlier. And then if I know a student is interested, I follow up with them to see, okay, let's do the application together. Or do you want me to help you with writing your personal statement? So students can get that kind of a individualized support if they actually have a straight target about what they want to do. So the things we do with the PHP club goes on and on and on. I do not want to take all the time you have today, but there are a couple more things that I cannot skip. So one of those things is the mock interviews I do through the Pre-Health Professions Club. I get support from two wonderful doctors who are very kind and generous. And they, before the last year, we did several mock interviews with students who are planning to apply to medical school. So we had to stop it temporarily due to the pandemic, but we are planning to continue with that service. So like when we do this mock interview, actually the students dress up and they come to a real type of an interview. And then we practice them to face an interview. The Pre-Health Professions Club gives students a lot of leadership opportunities, because when we do a lot of things through the club, the students are the ones who plan the events, and then they have to execute the events. They need to do all the nuts and bolts of starting from planning and then actually executing the whole entire projects. To name a few of these projects, we do a annual food drive to benefit the McPherson County Food Bank. We do a science day every year with about 100 or so area elementary school fourth graders. And we celebrate the Earth Day. We volunteer with every single blood drive the college organizes. So there are various leadership opportunities these students can take a role in. And then actually, once they apply to graduate schools, because of all these experiences, it is really easy to write their recommendation letters. And it is really easy for the students to write their personal statements, because they are very experienced with various aspects of healthcare industry. And then when I talk about the various opportunities our healthcare students have, I cannot forget talking about the junior senior research projects we do. And a few weeks ago, we celebrated our seniors research at the 38th Annual Natural Science Research Forum. And I'm not going to talk a lot about the research forum, because I know already you know what is the research, junior senior research process with the McPherson College. What I want to highlight is it is not very common for an undergraduate student to design, execute, and present a senior project and then get a publication with their name as the first author by the time they graduate. And then over the past few years, our students produced really good research which were presented at the Kansas Academy of Sciences in addition to the College Senior Research Forum. So the students are performing really well there. And as Michael said, the McPherson College partnering with the McPherson Hospital and these other area organizations is a really big opportunity that we have, right? So in my opinion, like our student-oriented and career-focused approach is very beneficial to our students if they are also focused on and willing to be successful in a healthcare profession. And then I am not scared to say that we are producing students who are well-rounded, well-experienced, and unique compared to the students that are coming from other colleges. However, unless we hear from someone at the receiving end of this process, I don't think this talk is going to be complete, right? So I would love to invite Erica on camera now. Uh, Erica is she completed her junior year and then she's going to start her senior year at McPherson College. And Erica is the elected president of the Pre-Health Professions Club from this coming August. Erica, so why don't you introduce yourself and share a little bit about your experiences at McPherson College?
Hello, everyone. So my name is Erica Paradise, and I'm a junior at McPherson College. So I'm majoring in biology with a minor in Spanish, and I actually came here from California about 2 years ago because of how amazing the science department is at McPherson College, and because I really heard amazing things about the professors here.
Erica, do you like to share with us what are your future career goals, and then how has McPherson College helped you explore the possibilities? Maybe I heard you were thinking about something and you changed your mind, so go ahead.
Yeah, so I came to McPherson College with the idea that I was going to become a nurse, and I told Manjula that I wanted to become a nurse. And honestly, after a few years, I realized that I actually want to become a doctor. And so something that played a big factor in me deciding what career I wanted to go into was the Pre-Healthcare Professional Club. And one of the cool things about this club is that students are able to listen to people talk about the professions, and you're also given the opportunity by Manjula for jobs such as working at disability support, working as a medical scribe, or a CNA in McPherson, which is honestly amazing. And being able to learn about these different healthcare fields has helped me enormously in figuring out what career I wanted to go into.
And Erica, I have one more question for you. Okay, so would you like to share about your internship or career experiences you have had through the McPherson College?
Yeah, so I've actually been working at disability support for over a year now. And I heard about this job through the Pre-Healthcare Professionals Club through another student that actually was working there. And honestly, this job has given me a new perspective about people with disabilities. After hearing about this job, I would have never known of a place like this. And after working with disability supports, I realized how much I enjoy working with people with disabilities and how I could actually see this as a future career. But I also started working as a medical scribe as well in the emergency department. And I heard about this job through the Pre-Healthcare Professionals Club. And basically in this job, I'm following a doctor around, writing down their charts. I'm able to learn a lot about the roles of a doctor in a hospital and a lot about medical terminology as well. And I would say this career has basically, this job has shown me how much I do want to become a doctor and how much I do enjoy working in the emergency department. You're going to see something new every day. It's not going to be the same patients all the time. You're going to be seeing new people all the time. And I would say through my experiences, I have learned how to work independently, and it's shown me what type of career I want to go into. And like Angela said before, McPherson College does give you a lot of opportunities to do your own research. So I'm actually doing a research project with Dr. Fry, and he's the head of the natural science department. And the project I'm doing with him involves plant species that are native to Kansas, and we're looking at the microbial community of these plant species. And I would say after taking microbiology last year with Dr. Fry, I was able to apply a lot that I learned from microbiology to this research project. So it gave me a lot of that background knowledge I would need. And I would say this research has allowed me to learn even more about the importance of microbiology outside of the classroom. And I think, honestly, all the opportunities I've had at McPherson College have given me such a well-rounded education and have really shown me what I want to do as a future career.
Thank you, Erica.
Thank
Actually,
you.
I like to use this opportunity to ask you if you are willing to talk to the students who are participants of the Pre-Health Professions Club. Please contact us. We are very, very happy to welcome you into the club, because the more exposure the students have, they are going to learn more about different careers in the healthcare industry. And like in the past, we were doing all the meetings in person, but now we can meet through Zoom. So depending on your time and availability, we are very willing to adjust our times to listen to you and then hear about your wonderful careers. Thank you.
Yes, I would love to do that. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you for that invitation, Manjula. And that's a great transition point. I'll invite Nick and President Schneider back on to do some question and answer, because what you've just said really feeds in well to one of our questions from a younger alum who asked, as a student that began on a pre-med trajectory at McPherson College and have veered to a much different area of healthcare that I didn't know existed, is there much thought to introducing courses, curriculum in the ever-growing clinical trial companies? Additionally, there are so many BD sales type roles in the field. Are there thoughts of trying to bridge those gaps? So, I mean, one answer that I'll offer before I turn that over to Nick and Manjula to speak to is that this is a great opportunity to share with the Pre-Health Professionals Club so that they're more aware of the kind of career that you went into. So I'll make sure, Manjula, that you get connected with our alum that's watching. But I do want to kind of open that question to you about these areas or creative areas that you're trying to help students know more about. So I don't know, Nick, do you want to take that first, or do you prefer to, Manjula?
Well, so I think we could probably both offer different perspectives. I think Manjula and the Pre-Health Professionals Club has a fantastic platform and opportunity for exposure. But additionally, within the health sciences career track, or I'm sorry, degree track and the education, really, the idea of entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial and innovative thinking around the association of healthcare and moving healthcare into the next kind of era, so to speak, in terms of service delivery, absolutely embedding kind of that curiosity and innovative thinking around non-traditional aspects of healthcare delivery is trying to be interwoven into the health science degree career track as well. So the idea of pharmaceutical and medical device sales, healthcare consultancy, and the ideas of interweaving these interdisciplinary focuses in terms of business, science, scientific methodology and thinking into the business of healthcare itself is seeking to be infused into the curriculum itself. So from that standpoint, keeping an open mind about the career possibilities in health sciences and healthcare as a whole is certainly within the curriculum. And Manjula, from your standpoint in terms of natural science and pre-health professionals club, anything that you would want to add as well in terms of exposure for your students?
Yes, Taylor, actually, I was thinking about inviting you for a talk.
Yeah, it's great to see Taylor on, isn't it, Manjula? It's pretty cool to see him when we're, they're not too far out and engaged. Taylor, I'd also add that once we had this program framed up, and this was before we even had a job description set for Nick, Manjula was very instrumental in helping us develop the framework for this program. And one of the first things she did was she asked me to come in and speak to the club. And just, and I said, why do you want me to I'm not a medical health professional. And she said, I want you to inspire him to think about healthcare more broadly. And the idea is these students who are maybe doing biochem, thinking they're going to go pre-med or pre-pharm or, whatever, need to think about maybe a minor in public health or management or behavioral health, which they can pick it up. So the cool part about this is you see a partnership between the natural sciences and the health sciences to put those things together and not compete on who gets Erica Paradise in their program, right? Because we all want Erica in our program. And so instead of fighting about that, we let students decide and move through those based on what fits them the best. And I think that was my favorite part. I got invited to speak to the club to inspire them to think broadly. And, one of the cool parts about it is students were asking about, and they were talking about what they might want to do that's a little bit different. Genetic counseling came up. Lots of students are thinking about genetic counseling. For those of you layman's out there, that the idea is that there are a lot of genetic markers that we can find out through the pricking of a finger and sending off a blood sample to find out what you're predetermined for. Well, somebody's got to deal with the results, right? And counsel folks and help them understand at the 23andMe level to the very real diagnostic level when you're in the hospital and you find out that you've got certain genes that might create some issues for you, or genetic predispositions that might create some issues in the future. So I love, it's a great question. And I agree, Manjula. It's great to see Taylor on the.
And then to add on to that, actually, we have a new biochemistry professor starting from August, and there is a very high possibility that she would be talking about teaching a class related to kind of like what you mentioned in your question. So there's a possibility, and then please, I'll send you an email, and then we'll meet and then see what we can do.
Wonderful, great connections. I have a couple more questions that have come through the Q&A. So we'll get through these. Just a reminder, if you'd like to get your question in before we wrap up, please do. And so I'll pose these to the group. And I love this first question as the alumni director. What can young alumni do to help support this program? Yeah. So, Michael, you're unmuted.
Yeah, sure. I mean, and again, Nick and Manjula can answer the second part of the question. The first part, so it's really simple. We've got opportunities now available on the career side for you to engage as a mentor and to reach out and share your story and connect with it. The other thing is it's never too early to make a gift. I think a donation. Again, and when I say that, we talk a lot about transformational gifts, these big 7-figure gifts that pay salaries and allow us to do things we wouldn't otherwise do. But McPherson College right now is doing a little bit more with your gifts than just paying for the light bill. There's all kinds of interesting things that we're able to do, like prop up a alumni mentoring platform for our students to allow them to connect with you. That's something that's built into our budget that we need resources to fund year in and year out. So again, it's never too early to make a gift, a $5 gift, a $10 gift, a $20 gift to help support the annual fund. And you can make your gift out to the health science program to support that program specifically, because there's a lot of cool things we're doing there. But also taking advantage and following along with the work that we're doing and continuing to engage with faculty and give us that feedback out there from the market. One of the most valuable things about our auto restoration program is this beautiful network of folks out there in industry who are constantly giving us that feedback of what's going on, asking us questions, curious about what experiences are going on. and you can always refer a student that you see out there that you're connected with, or you can raise your hand if you see an opportunity for a student to do an internship or a clinical or a field experience, or if you're willing to talk to a student. So I think a lot of times our younger alums, they wonder, what can I do? There are lots of things that you can do. And the most important is to stay engaged and to show up to these types of things and stay informed. So there you go, Monica. There's my 2 cents on that deal.
That's great. Yeah, I appreciate that. And I'm going to ask this second question, but if either Nick or Manjula want to round back to Young Alumni Helping, that's great too. But has COVID-19 helped generate even more interest in the health science program at MC? And in part, they're asking because they heard that some people have a heightened interest in the healthcare system because of hearing more about pandemic-related issues and wanting to help.
Manjula, do you have an immediate answer? Because I certainly do. But I don't. I want to make sure you have a mic.
Yeah, sure. Like the students are always thinking about, oh my gosh, the careers in the healthcare industry are never going to go away. Yes, the short answer is yes. And then to get help from the alumni, if you are willing to work with students in the Pre-Health Professions Club, I always get students asking me, can I go shadow someone? So that someone could be a, like they could be coming from different areas. And then most of the times, I share this with Nick, like I would tell my dentist, hey, do you mind one of my students shadowing you? So I try to make connections with people. So if you are really willing to help our students, please try to help them, make them come shadow you. Please talk to the club and then try to inspire our kids because they are very, very openly trying to get knowledge about these different areas in the healthcare industry. Nick.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think the second question is, I think it's both in that there is certainly a heightened awareness around healthcare, especially public health. And I think that has to do with just the attention associated with over the last year and a half. And I think that's both, it's garnered a lot of interest. It's also maybe those that are maybe don't want to be thrust into the quote unquote limelight have maybe deterred, but it's created an opportunity for an expansion of just how broad the healthcare industry is. So again, refocusing those students or potential students who are interested in a career in healthcare and broadening their awareness of you can work in healthcare and not be a doctor, a nurse, a rad tech, or a CEO of a hospital, right? There is just a monumental scope of potential career opportunities in healthcare, and creating exposure to that industry and that economy itself has been something that has been exposed throughout the last year associated with kind of this exposure as a result of the pandemic in 2020. So absolutely, I think a broad exposure to a brand new swath of potential career opportunities in healthcare. Specifically to what young alumni can do, I think both Manjula and President Schneider have touched on it, but I think not only awareness, but the engagement and proactively reaching out. I know personally, if you have an interest in the health science degree program, and as an alumni, you have a connection or a draw to potential placement or potential experience, or simply maybe you're interested in talking with students, and I'm sure I speak on behalf of Manjula as well, just reach out to us because these students are hungry for experience, they're hungry for knowledge, but also it's probably not too far back that you remember being a freshman and sophomore in college as well, and you're not quite sure where to start at all. And so, making those connections and creating that lineage and that history for McPherson College in real time is just as important as being present and having your name on a donor list as well. So engaging with our current students as well in any form and capacity is just as impactful as well.
That's wonderful. Well, we're coming close to time, so I do want to offer the opportunity if anybody has anything that they would like to share before I wrap us up. I don't want to cut us short and miss something really important that one of you wanted to say. So just checking in before I sign off for everyone. All right, well, I want to thank all of you that have watched this evening or are watching the recording and at your own convenience. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your great questions. And a special thanks to Michael, to Nick, to Manjula, and to our fantastic student guest, Erica, this evening. It was really fun to hear about this program. I will invite you all to watch the recordings of our previous Huddle sessions through the alumni page of the website. I have a few calls to action, but I think that your questions led us into these very, very well. So if you'd like to speak with the Pre-Health Professionals Club, please volunteer. You can be in touch with the alumni office if you don't know how to reach out to Manjula personally. If you work at an organization or at an office where they'd like to host summer interns or have job shadowing, just like Manjula shared, please volunteer that with our staff. If that's close to McPherson, that's helpful. But if it's not, that doesn't rule you out, because we have students that are living and working all over the country, and particularly for an internship. And so please reach out to us. And then another way that you can support the college is by giving to the MC Fund or designating a gift to the healthcare program. If you've not made your gift this year, we invite you to do so to support our students in health sciences and many other fantastic programs. So thank you again for joining us for this great huddle. And I'm going to say congratulations. We did a big drawing here on campus, and Taylor Roop, class of 2013, you asked a great question, and you also won the prize package for this evening. So we'll be getting some gifts in the mail to Lenexa to make their way to you, hopefully as a little bit of a tease to get you to come and speak with the Pre-Health Professionals Club soon. So thank you all once again. Have a great night. It's a great day to be a Bulldog.
Thank you.